Stop scrolling. I'm going to show you a new way to use seaweed in your salad. First of all, seaweed is a really great source of many nutrients, including iodine. It's a natural source of iodine. And many people think about seaweed as being something that is kind of slimy or has a really different texture. So I have a few ways that I encourage people to try it out that doesn't show that sort of slimy texture to it, and it is a way to naturally get it into your diet, and this recipe is one of those. This recipe is originally called the triple A salad, and I learned about this recipe back when I was in graduate school. One of our Whole Foods chefs who taught us was Mary Shaw, and she used this recipe. She created this recipe, and it's something that I've held on to for a long time. But over the years, I've made some changes to it that make it a little bit easier for me to incorporate into my repertoire day to day, because some of the ingredients that were originally in it aren't things that I usually keep in my kitchen. The reason it's called the triple A salad is for three of the main ingredients. One is an avocado, A for avocado. The other one is A for Arame, and this is a seaweed that we're going to use today. You can see they're kind of small thread-like pieces, dried. And the third A is the almonds. And then the thing that really brings this salad together is the beautiful dressing that we're going to put together. And then it's just a matter of having some beautiful greens. And I'm showing you this year, or this time of year, because it is spring here, and it is a wonderful time to just indulge in some delicious greens from your garden or from the local farmer's market or wherever. So let's get going. First, we're going to make the dressing. And the dressing consists, for what I'm doing today, I use some olive oil because I always have olive oil in my pantry. I am going to use one of the original pieces of this dressing, which is a toasted sesame oil. And it adds a really delicious flavor to this. So I'm going to put some toasted sesame oil in here. I'm going to use some rice vinegar, a couple tablespoons of rice vinegar in here. And then it originally called for some brown rice syrup, and I am using maple syrup because maple syrup is something that I, again, stock in my kitchen to add a little sweetness. Then I'm going to add some Dijon mustard to this, a couple teaspoons of Dijon mustard. And I'm going to use some sea salt. I start with a little bit less sea salt and then taste it and see how that goes. So I'm probably going to start with like a quarter of a teaspoon right there, maybe a little less. And I'm going to mix this. Another thing you can do is you can just put it into a jar and just mix it in there. And that way, if you don't use the whole thing, you can put it into the refrigerator for later. Okay, so not much to this. It is pretty well blended at this point. The last ingredient, it calls for poppy seeds. I don't have a ton of poppy seeds, but I'm going to use what I have right there. Mix that. You don't necessarily have to use the poppy seeds if you don't want to, or you can substitute with a different seed in there, whatever works for you. Okay, and then let's go on to assembling this. One avocado, and I do use the whole avocado because it's delicious. I use about 4 big handfuls of these mixed greens, dark mixed greens. You can use any kind of spring green, mixed green you would like, or if you have a favorite lettuce, go ahead and use that. That's pretty versatile. And then the Arame that we're using, this seaweed, which is what I'm highlighting right now, You only use about 1/8 of a cup, so a really small amount. I rehydrate that into some water, some hot water, and I let it sit for at least like 10-15 minutes. And then I'm going to strain that out. And this is just rehydrated, kind of thread-like. You can see these, but they will mix in pretty well to this salad. You can use a little bit more if you want a little bit more per serving, because this does make a large amount. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the avocados, and I have pre-cut these into pieces here, and I am just going to add this in. And the last thing that I'm going to add are my almonds, and I have toasted these. I got raw almonds. I toasted them in my oven for about 7 to 9 minutes, somewhere around there. And I am going to just coarsely chop these. Doesn't have to be much. Just cut these a little bit. I'm going to add this to the bowl. And then I'm going to add my dressing to this. I will pour it all in here. The dressing really does highlight the flavors, the mixture in this. I'm going to mix this together. This is pretty well tossed at this point. And I'm just going to add this to a bowl and serve it. So here it is, an update to the AAA salad, something that you can put together quickly and start to use some seaweed in your salad. As you can see, there's not a lot of seaweed in here. I love having this because what I really enjoy about the salad are all of the flavors of this dressing. And I really don't taste the seaweed a lot. I know it's there. I know it's adding some great nutrients to my salad, but it's not overwhelming, and it's not a huge part of the salad as well. So enjoy. If you want the recipe, comment below and we'll send it to you.